catch my breath.
Hi guys, welcome to This is England, Rouen British and Irish Short Film Festival. So this is number 14. We've been there since 2012. It's always a pleasure. And this year we start a new experiment. It's a new kind of interviews. Thanks to Quentin. Thank you, Quentin, for putting us into this. Today, three films are represented around this table. I'm going to start with Care, which is represented by Stef O'Driscoll, director. Hey.
Hello.
And Sophie Ellerby, who's
Hi.
the writer. Okay, so thank you for being there. Then we'll move to Float, represented here by Dowse. I'm saying it even better than before. Writer, director, and editor. So a lot of things. And eventually, Friday is a mushroom soup. And we have Katy Trevor, who's producer, actress, and writer. Okay, a lot. And Arnold Rice, director and producer. So a lot of trades, I would say, around this table. 3 films, and something in common that maybe you haven't noticed, well, especially if you haven't seen the films. It's that there is something looming behind each one of your films. It's the death of a wife. So in all your films, there is, not in the film, but out of the film, there is a dead wife. And so it was a bit, for us, it was quite striking. Okay, we thought, wow, why do they want to kill the wives all the time? What kind of obsession is it? And at the same time, it was quite interesting in the way you build a story in a short film, because these things happened before the story, okay? And so it got us to think about, can you tell us about how you build a short film when you put together all the elements, and how you load what's outside what you show, okay, so that the audience will feel much more than what you show them, because you just equip them with a lot of elements that are behind. And here, of course, a dramatic event, which is at the core of the film, but which is not there, okay? So, that's it. It's the first thing that we could discuss. So how you, in the writing process, and then when you turn it into actual shooting and editing, how do you organize that so that it's effective? Because that's what we're talking about, is technique to make it felt by the audience. All right, so who wants to start? I know the first answer is always difficult, but...
I think,
okay.
yeah, I think interesting about the writing process and about having the things that have happened off screen, things that have happened before, is because you're always told as a writer, I don't know if you have this as well, is that you don't start at the beginning, you start in the middle of the action, and there's nothing more, you know, interesting, I say, than starting in the middle of grief. Because you've already got that emotion there, and it's a universal feeling, so your audience are going to know what that character's feeling instantly.
Okay, so your starting point is, okay, I want to put grief in the middle of the film.
In the middle of this, yeah.
Right.
And when you've already got, you can then use it as a sort of technique, because when you've got characters, you're in the middle of something, they already know each other, then they're forced to sort of confront. And then you can get your characters' personalities out there in that sort of way as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If that does make sense.
I mean, it feels like the way you wrote this film as well is it's like the conflict is against the denial of the grief. You know, that's like a big part of it.
Yeah. So you get an idea of what this character is like, because he's avoiding talking about this.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a deeper reason why he's avoiding.
Yeah.
The conversations. Yeah.
That's kind of similar to Float, is kind of grief is the sort of answer for why the main character is acting the way she is. So grief is sort of like the answer in the film. But as to your point of like, how do you get the audience to feel things that are outside? I don't know about you guys, but I overwrite at the beginning. I write everything, and everything is so dramatic, and it's so like extra, and I'm just like, I write so many more scenes than I need, and then I know, like, I write my way into the character and how they're feeling and stuff, and then I strip away everything that I don't need, and then it just kind of has seeped in there somehow into the things that are left. That's the way I approach it anyway.
All right. And so in the decision process, are you alone or is it a teamwork?
So very alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So very alone with my thoughts just running around. Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to rewrites and stuff, I will send it out to people and get feedback, and friends and writers that I trust and script readers that I trust.
All right.
But for a long time, I'm also a perfectionist, so I have to think it's pretty good before I let anyone see it.
Okay, and so in the case of Care, I mean, it's even more. I mean, I would say it's really heavy stuff because the guy is apparently murdered his wife suddenly, and so yeah, it's the fact that he can't remember it. Well, in a way,
yeah, he has dementia. Yeah.
How did you work on this? I mean,
well, I think a question that bubbled underneath the reason of making this is like, who is deserving of care in their time of need?
All right.
And so it's set, just for context, it's set in a men's prison, and it's fundamentally a story about a relationship between an inmate looking after another inmate, because in the criminal justice system in Britain, when someone needs to be looked after, a warden cannot be that person, and the system is so flawed that there's not much kind of medical assistance, so it becomes down to an inmate to look after this older gentleman.
That was a big surprise for us.
Yeah, so it's down to another inmate to look after the person with dementia who doesn't remember that the reason why he's in prison is that he killed his wife.
Yeah.
So for us, it was really important that we don't get that information right away, that we see this human for who he is, someone who does need care. And I think for us to reveal it a bit later that that's what he's in there for, I think hopefully provokes an audience to kind of go, oh, how do I now feel about that? Does someone who has committed a crime like that, do I still feel like they are deserving of care in their time of need? And I think, that's it.
Yeah, and I think I think grief can often come hand in hand with feelings of guilt. And I think both Ali and James, our two characters, are battling with this feeling, this interconnected relationship with feelings of guilt and grief at different points in the film. And I think for Ali, he's going on a kind of like journey that almost mirrors James's journey, in the sense that his mum passes away during the film, and he's feeling he's kind of trying to avoid the guilt that he's feeling for not being able to be there for his mum at this time of need for her, because he's inside. And I think a lot of the story is kind of shown through Ali's perspective in a way, and he's got a lot of preconceived judgments about James at the beginning. And I think by the end of the film, he sort of realises that this man, who maybe was a little bit challenging, as often like people who have late stage dementia can be, challenging to care for, that there was a real connection that they built together, and there was a real intimacy that they found for each other, and that James was able to give Ali something in equal measure at that moment in his life.
All right. Yeah. And the three films have in common the fact that you've got this, give and take connection between people, and the fact that when you care for people, when you help them, you get the reward from it. Okay. And you can see that it's healing people too at the same time doing it, even though it's very tiring, demanding, etc. And so well, do you feel that our society is lacking that kind of qualities at the time, or because why do you feel that there are three films about that notion of getting to help people who are suffering? So what do you think about the period we are getting through in our world?
I think our film, being about home carer that's going into that situation and has a very kind of tight time limit on it, it's trying to speak to, without making it too blunt, but trying to speak to the fact that that time limit in itself is obvious, that the people setting that time limit don't understand the value of the relationships that get built in those situations. So I think our goal was to really kind of emphasize that, and show on one hand that okay, it is possible in that time limit, but it's pushed to its absolute edge. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that it's, you know, like you said, rewarding. I think there is something kind of spiritual to it. You know, that's quite the essence of it. Really, is that that's the point, not the other stuff. Obviously, the physical care has to happen, but it's the relational thing that keeps people alive in a more real sense.
I think then as well, the commentary is quite similar to your guys' story by the sounds of it, is that the commentary on the you know, having to rely on the kindness of other people, even though they're home cares and they're being paid. In our case, she's being paid, but she's also, you know, she goes overtime. She doesn't get paid for a lot of the stuff she does. She does more than she should. And in your case, obviously, somebody who, out of necessity, has to care for somebody. So I think that's why we wanted to address that.
It really appeals to the French people because we've got strong debates about public services at the moment. They're trying to reduce, of course, because it's too expensive, but at the same time, and they pressure people into doing more with less. And the electronic platforms, for instance, that are supposed to quicken things, it's a really heavy load of work for the people that are left alone with just Excel tables, getting there and just pushing keys. And so it was really, both films were really about the, we learned about this very weird system with the inmates helping other inmates to do very professional things. I think,
within the prison system, he still gets paid, but he gets paid like £10 a week to do the role like that, which is like minimum nothing, you know.
Of course,
but it is because of the failing systems. These things, these tasks are being people have to, other people are having to do that. But in answer to what you were talking about before, I think there is something about, like, I feel like it's my duty as a filmmaker to show humanity and show that we do have the ability to look after one another and to care for one another in a time where it feels like the world is literally on fire, and like it's our responsibility to kind of put a bit of hope in the world that there is beautiful connections that can be formed and people are going above and beyond, but look how brilliant humanity is because they are doing that. But also pointing up and going, it's your responsibility to do better and put more money in criminal justice systems, welfare systems, you know, social services, all of that kind of stuff. So I think on two levels, it's kind of speaking politically about the state of the world, but also going, look how brilliant humans are. I need to know that humans can be good. Otherwise, I won't get out of bed in the morning, you know?
That's more the vibe I was going for. So mine's kind of like the kindness of strangers and just that I was writing it during COVID and I was really, you know, lonely and kind of down and thinking about all the things that had impact on me throughout my life. And, you know, I was praying to do big extreme things when I was young to cope with difficult situations. I get my heart broken and like move country. It was and then I was thinking about, actually, it's more like that random person you meet on a night out that says something to you that's so kind and just changes your day and changes your entire perspective, or it's just meeting someone in a shop and having a really nice conversation with them when you really need that. And that's kind of what that's what Float is more about, like just a chance meeting on a beach between two people that go for a swim together and then have a conversation about why this woman is trying to swim the English Channel even though she can't swim. So it's more about like, showing actually there's beauty everywhere, there's connection everywhere, and that like if you just go out of your way to maybe prod someone a little bit, you might literally save their life.
So talking to people has become a political.
It's a wild act. I'm northern, so
it comes to that in the end. When you talk to people in the street, sometimes they feel assaulted because they are not used to being addressed by someone they don't know. So.
Or being shown compassion by a stranger. I told a lady in a shop the other day, she was trying on lots of tops and she was an older lady and she was like really like stressed, and I was like I told her which one to get and I was like, you look really lovely in that, and she was like, oh thank you. I was like, what's it take just to be a little you know, a little friendly and spread a little nice cheer.
Okay, so but about short films now, just to get to short films, it's a very special trade, I would say, because there's not much money to get from that. So it's very weird to understand how filmmakers still do short films, because it's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and no financial returns. Very exceptionally, but very little. And so why do you choose this artistic expression? Because you could write, it's cheaper, or paint or whatever. But so it's very industrial process. I mean, you've got so many people involved, and you need to get money from any source, and so it's a lot of energy, a lot of work for something which is shared either in the creative process. So it's maybe you can feel sometimes a bit frustrated starting from your first idea and then what it develops into. So can you explain the choice you made being film makers, and also this kind of maybe sometimes little frustration you might get because you can't do exactly what you had in mind because there are some money issues or technical issues maybe. So how about the 3 films we're mentioning first? Do you have something that you've got left behind that you feel that would have been great to do a bit more, a bit longer, or so? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm happy to to kick off. So this is my first short film. Care is the first short film that I've made.
Oh.
I come from a theatre background. I've spent like 20 years making theatre, and I've spent a long time trying to widen the kind of to bring in the people that I'd like to see shows. But theatre is a very elite art form in the UK, so it's not quite a diverse place where lots of people from all walks of life can come to watch theatre and have that live kind of experience of storytelling. So it's only been in the last few years that I've started to think about I'm an innate storyteller. I'm meant to tell stories. I know that deeply, and so thinking about how do I get the stories that I want to tell or want to platform and celebrate out to more people, which made me start to think about how does that then translate to film. And I think not everything not every story should be on a stage, for example. I think there's limitations to both art forms, but also brilliant possibilities. I think there is a lot more possibility to kind of shift and change location and to kind of build bigger worlds, I think, with film, which is what I'm quite excited about too. And also to get really up close and personal. Like on a stage, there's people, you could be in a 500-seater and someone at the back is not seeing the kind of intimate emotion that's right here in someone's face. And I was really drawn to that I can get so up close and personal with people through a lens that you can't on a theatre stage. Of course. So I'm at the beginning. I'm realising that it's just as hard as theatre in terms of momentum and funding and trying to make it. But I still have energy because I'm a newbie, whereas some others of you might can speak differently to that.
Right. Yeah. No, but I think what you're saying that's what I was thinking. The immediacy of film is why you kind of go through all the pain of making it. You know what I mean? Especially given the stories that we're telling, which are about these relationships, these connections. I think that's kind of the only way you can get it, and to try and get it across to people who aren't necessarily going to read an article about those same kind of political issues, or it kind of has that. Yeah, you can just hit someone in the face with it with film and make them care in a very short period of time, because obviously there's so many opportunities for them to see something of themselves or of their world in the film. You know what I mean? You take it to another medium, you're limiting that to some degree, whereas someone can just say, oh my god, that looks just like my house, oh my god, that looked just like someone I knew when I was growing up, having all those elements in there lets you, and that's why it feels worth it despite everything.
I've tried everything else.
Exhausted.
I've tried to want to do something else many years, many times. There's several half-written books, plays. I used to paint, photograph, and then I was just like, oh, fine, I'm just gonna have to do it, And it's just tried other things, and then I think what you were saying, film is just all the things. It's everything. So that's what I like about it, is that like the I don't have to pick like, oh, it's only going to be visual, or it's only going to be like music, or it's like all things, all art, all things that I'm interested in jammed into one little tiny package. And if I could do, I'm like, yeah, like if I could do anything else and not tell stories, and maybe I would, but I can't see what that would be really.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, for my bank balance.
Absolutely.
And so, in terms of distribution, I mean, the fact is, a lot of short films are to be seen, I mean, now on platforms, because it's rarely in cinema, so that's why we've got festivals, of course. But I know that there are a lot of cinemas in France. It's, I think, the country in Europe. Here in Rouen, we've got, I don't know, 30 screening rooms. So it means that the chance are limited to have an audience collectively watch your films, because we realize this, especially with the school screenings in the morning, the reactions of the kids when they watch the films, and the questions they ask in the end. Okay, but when you watch something collectively, when there is strong content like there is in your films, and it will bring about reactions among the audience, and people will talk about it. Whereas when you are at home and you watch it on your phone or on TV, I mean, you won't react exactly the same. So what do you think about this collective aspect of cinema? Do you feel that it's losing at the moment, or do you feel that it's still something, a momentum is going back? Or because
I reckon it's coming back.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm sure I listened to something the other day that I don't know what generation they are, the small children. They're really into cinema now, because they don't get many offline moments. So they think it's really kind of, oh, this is kind of fun to like go to a cinema and turn off your phone and just like watch a thing on it. Like so apparently Hollywood is praying for a resurgence of cinema, and I am too. I think it's so different. Even I think you could even watch like quite an average film. Like if you watched it at home on a laptop or phone, I've done it occasionally. It wouldn't move you quite as much. But then you put it in a cinema, fill the cinema with people, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this is great. It just makes such a difference, I think, to have a communal viewing experience, and like the energy you get from almost like a live audience vibe, right, of watching something is so different, and the sound and just like that punch in the gut that you get from the music. Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, but I think short films, I mean, are feature film. You can watch them on TV, you know, because you've got plenty of time to get into the film, and that's the way. Short films, very often, as we mentioned, you know, the fact that you've got unsaid things, and it's shorter, of course, so you need to get into the film right from the start. And I think the big screen is very important to get immersed in it, because if you start, I hate watching short films on TV. I mean, you've got programs in France very late at night. I hate it because you don't get into it, okay? And then when you start getting interested, it's over. So oh God, too bad. And the fact is, I mean, when we choose the films for the festival, we choose them on a computer, of course, computer screen. And you need to be able to project yourself and to feel, okay, what about this on big screen? And that's very different. If you can't do that, it's very, very, I mean, you're not very good at choosing films. And Fanny for that is good too. You know, she's perfect with that, because you need to imagine what it will be like on a giant screen. And the purpose is that too. I mean, the fact is, this festival wants to screen the films in the best possible way, because it's something that we owe you as filmmakers, because that's why you did your job. And sometimes some filmmakers say, that's the first time I can see my film on a big screen. And say, come on, it's too bad. I mean, you've got that in your mind and you've never had the opportunity to see it. So
it's also nice to see your own film in a collection of films as well, with the context of other films, and it's interesting to see how they've been sort of chosen as a collection. That's interesting to me. Yeah,
and I think you start to realise new things about your own film when you watch it with a group of people like that, and you're like, oh, people are laughing more than I thought at certain bits, and you know, just you feel the pace differently. And it's interesting, like when I edit films, what I tend to do now is like screen them for friends, early cuts, just to get that sense of how does it feel with lots of people, what, you know, because that can impact a lot of things, like how long you leave a beat, if people are laughing, you know, how you can just feel it in a different way when you're with other people. So it's quite important to not get too used to just putting stuff online and not thinking about it. Like, you want to have that as part of your process.
Also, from a technical point of view, so much work's gone into sound design and colour grades, and, you know, we've got people doing Foley for us, and to be able to see it how we made it, or how the amazing people that worked on the technical parts of it made it, we can see it as it's supposed to be seen, which is nice when you've put so much money and so much work into it. At least you get that out.
Also, there's something about, like, Float's quite subtle, and there's something about, like, subtlety carries more on a bigger screen. You're like, you can feel it a lot more. It's about getting close, like what you were saying. You can really feel that intimacy, and you feel the emotions a lot more, I think, on a bigger screen.
And as you said, I mean, the composing a program is very interesting too, because you need to take into account the rhythms of the various films, and even the colors of the films. And as you said, for Float, it's on the sea and on the shore, you know, with the water and the channel, the English Channel, and so you've got this, you know, very soft bluish, you know, colors in the background, and it's very. I mean, you've got the sound of the waves, and you need to put this film in between two films that are slightly more, you know, either dark or, you know, boisterous, because it's a break too for the audience, you know, to get into it. If you don't arrange that very well, you know, the screening will go in a very strange way. So that's part of Fanny's work. Is very artistic too. You know, that's why she's artistic director. It's when you've got all these films. First, in choosing the film, sometimes you need to say, okay, I wish I could take this one, but the fact is, it doubles something that I would like to show there. So there are some things like this which are very difficult to decide, and then she spends a couple of days trying to arrange things, and so she gets pictures of what she does with little slips of paper and turning them because she wants to make it very balanced all the time. It's very interesting to do that. And it's, of course, as you said, it reinforces, or sometimes it might be, you know, on the contrary, if you do that in the wrong way, it will and not serve your film very well, because you feel, oh my God, if she had moved, it's on the other way around, that would have been much better for my film. So that's a bit, it's fun thing. But that's exciting for us to be part of this, because I said before, you know, when, for instance, we do the dialogues and the subtitling. Working on a dialogue and subtitling is very interesting, because you get to change things, because you need to take into account what's in the image, you know. And the people working on that, you know, we've got about 15 people working on that, and they feel they're part of the crew, you know. When they did it, when they watched the film, and in the end they got their name saying translated and adapting, and they feel that they were part of the film, because you get into it really deeply to try to feel what's going on and to try to make it right, you know. And so it extends the crew, you know, when the credits you got this in the end, you feel, yeah, that's me. That's
it's also really important as well, because I was talking to somebody last night who had done one of the translations, and they were saying, you know, there's not always a direct translation, so sometimes you do have to change the words, what the character is saying, to make it make more sense. And so it's it's a craft, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Poetry thing.
So anyway. I think that's going to be it. Quentin, we've had a good talk about everything we had to say about the subject.
Perfect.
Okay, so have you got something to add? Because this guy is not in the field, but he is our lead technician there and the master of ceremony. So what do you think about this session?
It was a pleasure to listen to.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And thank you for coming and thank you for sharing.
So the boss is happy, so I'm happy.
And I have no idea if my voice is getting picked up.
We'll put subtitles.
So you can wave goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye. Thank you. That was fun. And thank you for sharing things, very interesting things about filmmaking. Okay. Cheers.
Thank you.
cruelty